Welcome to day 8 of our 21-day challenge. It's so incredible how each day there is so much work that we're doing on ourselves. Each day we're kind of really facing life as it comes. So it's yet another beautiful day when we are going to explore some aspect of our lives. Um, I'm reminded of this ancient proverb that says, "May we live in interesting times." And these sure are really, really interesting times. You can say that time and again. So, in these interesting times, it's quite astonishing. I was realizing how little we can make do with. Now that in every home, everybody's at home, supplies are kind of limited, nobody's indulging in excesses of any kind. It's quite stunning how little we can manage with. And it's also quite stunning how little wastage is happening. So right from the food that we are cooking, there's only that much food being cooked, and it's being eaten, and it's being eaten with quite a bit of gratitude because you suddenly realize what you have and the fact that you're privileged to be in a position where you have food on your table. And once you're done, I've realized across these days there is hardly any wastage. Food is just being, savored literally. And so it's quite interesting that we get to choose what we take back into the life that we restart after some time. So that brings me to a very, very important aspect of our lives, which is the topic for today. And can you guess what that topic is? Now that I've spoken about excess and I've spoken about how little we make do with, it is clutter. It is clutter. And how the process of decluttering can actually be a mindfulness practice. Mindfulness essentially is a deep sense of well being in the moment quite naturally. That's what mindfulness is at its essence. So, can you imagine decluttering as a mindfulness practice? Have you ever thought of it? Did you think it was even possible? But here's what happens with clutter. Now, clutter can be of many types. Clutter can be physical clutter, clutter can be mental or emotional clutter also. Clutter can even be body clutter, right? We can be holding on things in the body without realizing it. So, clutter exists at many levels. That's one, right? The second thing is that what really is clutter? Different people define clutter as different things. Some people say that whatever is not used is clutter, whatever is sort of making you be not peaceful is clutter, right? So if things are scattered, if they're disorganized, then essentially it is counted as clutter. Okay. Here's how I like to look at it. Clutter to me is an excess. It is something that is not really being utilized, right? And it is creating all of those things, everything. It's creating a chaos in the mind. It certainly is not the most peaceful space to be in, whether you're talking about physical clutter, mental clutter, or emotional clutter. It always fogs our reality. So there's the real thing. It's like as if you look into a mirror and the mirror is all cloudy and the mirror is all dusty. So unless you clean up the mirror, you're not going to see a clear image of yourself. It's very similar with clutter. And when clutter exists, that's what happens in our lives. Now, why does clutter exist? Let's talk a little bit about that. Clutter exists mainly for two reasons. One is because we're holding on to something about the past, or it is about fear about the future. Okay. Now, when we're holding on to something about the past, why are we holding on to something about the past? A lot of the times it's because we have not really lived that moment properly in the past. Now, if we've not truly lived that moment in the past, what will happen is there's a lot of unprocessed stuff. So, have you noticed when people have passed away, when they're no longer physically present, we tend to hold on to their things? We tend to hold on to things that we will never use. And I'm not talking about one thing, I'm talking about so many things. Every time somebody loses a loved one or somebody passes away, I usually have this conversation after some time when it is not insensitive to pick it up. that how much of the stuff do you have lying, because that means we're holding on to the past. The person is gone, but in some twisted way, we are hoping that by holding on to the things of that person, we can hold on to the energy of that person, right? And so that's why we hold on to past things. Sometimes we hold on to past things because we don't want to be in the present moment. We're not enjoying our present moment. I notice this in a lot of people where if they're not truly enjoying life, it's constantly resting on the past, achievements. It's talking about past good times. It's conversations only about, oh, you remember that time, oh, you remember this time. So this is how it is reflected in behavior. Now, in terms of your living space, in terms of your emotional space, this shows up as clutter, right? Things that we hold on to. And why would we have a fear of the future? Because we're chronically living in fear. And instead of handling the fear, we are accumulating more and more, hoping that that can make us feel safe. Now, these might be for different reasons, right? Somebody could be holding on to clutter because they're lonely. So they don't want to be in the present moment. Instead of dealing with the present moment, they start shopping and they start accumulating stuff. It could be one particular type of a thing, or it could be just anything, right? So many times we buy things because we want to feel better. What is that? That's acquisition of clutter, right? So when we have a fear of the future, clearly the fear is what we need to tackle instead of accumulating stuff to distract ourselves from the fear. Mindfulness, since it's essentially about living in the moment, it is about living in the present moment. So you can never be mindful if you're in the middle of clutter, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. You can never be in mindfulness if you are existing in clutter. Okay. So, what can we do? If mindfulness means living in the present, then if we are dwelling in the past, what are we doing? We're ignoring all the time and energy that we can put into our life goals. We're ignoring relationships sometimes. Sometimes we are missing important milestones. We are missing things like payments sometimes. We're not paying things on time because of the amount of clutter, either emotional clutter or physical clutter. It's the same thing. So if I'm mentally cluttered, I may miss important deadlines. I may not achieve the things that I want to achieve. I may stop myself from investing in relationships because there's no space in my life for a relationship. So much can be sabotaged because I'm living in the past. Now, if I'm living in the future, not only is the chronic fear going to stop me from living in the present, it's also going to show up in my body. Because remember, fear is going to manifest in the body. It's going to show up as illnesses and pain and disorders, digestive disorders, excretory disorders. All of that is connected to your emotional baggage, the clutter, the accumulation that exists inside, stuff that has not been released. Okay. So now that we know this, what is it that we can do? See, first of all, the awareness itself is very, very important, that when I'm accumulating, when I am filling my living space or my mental space with clutter, then clearly this is what I'm doing to myself. I'm preventing all the wonderful things in my life from happening to me. I'm accumulating things in my body. I am stuffing my life with stuff that I don't need. And I'm stopping what I really, really want from entering my life. So once the awareness sets in, the first thing to do, and that's easy right now, is to stop accumulating stuff. Okay. And that's easy in the current times because all around the world, people are staying at home. People are not in a position to go buy things. So don't accumulate stuff, because at least we cut the supply first, right? The second thing that you can do right today, and that will kind of connect you to the energy and show you what is possible, is that pick a very small surface. Maybe it could be your bedside table, maybe it could be a small desk, maybe it could be the entrance to your house. Pick a space and look at it. Okay. When you look at it, ideally the space needs to have some clutter, because we're doing this exercise for clutter. So pick a space which has some clutter, clear it out completely. As you clear it out, make this a holistic process. Start affirming, I clear all corners of my life. I clear the energy of my life. Keep removing everything. Once you've removed it, clear it, clean it, look at it, admire it, appreciate that emptiness, because you can create whatever you want to out of this space. And now, out of all the items that you've removed, pick up each one which is not used, which is not in use, which is not useful to you right now, but for some reason you have it. Pick it up and ask yourself, is this connected to my past? Or is this about what if I need this in the future? What if I fit into this? Okay. So, either way, it needs to go into either a donation basket or it needs to go into some throwing away, recycling, whatever you want to do with it. So, this has to go. And once it goes in this small little space, even when you're releasing it, we're going to do it with gratitude because this was serving a need in your life till today. It was there for some emotional reason, right? Whether it's a small keychain, or it is just a number of pens, or it is just things that you've never ever used, but they're just lying there, right? So when you look at these objects which you're letting go of, give them your gratitude. Give them your gratitude and tell them that I release you from my life. I release these energies from my life. May there be peace. Make this an inner process, not just an outer process, because that's how it got there in the first place. Remember that. Okay. And as you do that, you will yourself feel a shift. And don't be tempted into holding on to stuff, because this is not physical. This occupies your mind, this occupies your emotional centers. Now once you do this, you could do this with your emotional self also. You could sit down and write down, what is it from my past that I would like to let go of? What are the worries and the concerns of the future that I would like to let go of? Pour it out on a paper, write it down, and then take this paper and rip it or burn it, right? This is clearing your mental and emotional clutter. So you do your physical clutter, you do the mental and emotional decluttering. And as you do that, you will start experiencing a sense of lightness within you. Now, if you experiment with a small space, it's quite likely you will enjoy doing this with a slightly bigger space. So don't aim too big at a time. Pick up one small surface every day. Pick up one area of your life every day and clear it out and keep affirming, as I clear the energy of my life, as I clear all corners of my life, I welcome the new, right? So, what are some of the benefits that we can experience from this exercise? The first one is it shifts the energy. So, from an energy of overwhelm and suffocation and feeling everything is too much, or feeling chaos and clutter, it starts bringing clarity, right? The energy shifts, it feels better, it feels more positive. You'll actually experience it when you do it. Do share it in the comments how this feels. I know the live chat is not working today for some reason, but I'm sure you're all going to put the comments in the YouTube video when it is posted. So put it down. How did it feel to do this decluttering? How did it feel to do the physical decluttering, the emotional and mental decluttering? And so it shifts the energy. That's one. The second thing is that prosperity is deeply and directly connected to the clutter. Okay. Now, if you filled your life with stuff that you don't need, where is the space for stuff that you want? You got to make space for the stuff that you want. So prosperity, you invite prosperity every time you declutter, and you can affirm that. Yeah, I'm now open to receiving prosperity in my home. I'm open to receiving prosperity in my life. Affirm that as you work with it. Don't just let it be an external process, let it be a completely holistic process. The third very important benefit is more love and harmony, especially if you're looking for intimate love, or you're looking for better harmony within the family, you're looking for deeper connections. Then you got to make space for it. Things can't occupy the space that people need to occupy in your life, that abundance needs to occupy in your life. So I wish you a very, very happy and peaceful time as you declutter, and bless you with loads of abundance, lots of love, and some beautiful energy in your homes. Make sure you've subscribed to the videos and go back to the replays if you haven't watched them. You'll find them in the description box, and make sure that you share these videos with everyone. We're anyway sitting at home, right? We could be whiling away time mindlessly surfing things on the internet, or we could be doing something for ourselves, something where we feel loved by ourselves. So take care, and I send you loads of love. Have a beautiful time. Bye.